When it comes to driving new cars and reviewing new cars and talking all about how they ride and accelerate and brake and handle and everything, you probably think it comes down to the car and the suspension and engine and everything you would typically think of, which is indeed the case, but the tire that is on the car actually plays a really, really big part in everything I just talked about. This is Out Motorsports, the channel for cars as you are. My name is Jake and I am here at Atlanta Motorsports Park with Bridgestone tires because they have one brand new tire and 3 others that are new enough in the last year or so, and they invited us down to AMP to talk all about how they are, experience them all for ourselves. So let's talk about what we're driving today, and then we'll get behind the wheel of all 4 of these guys and talk about the tires and how they feel. So first up, we have this Honda Civic Si. This is a real HPD race car that Honda themselves built and runs with NASA. They run it at WRL. It was at the 25 Hours of Thunder Hill recently. So this one is on the Bridgestone Potenza RE71RS. That is kind of your grassroots racing tire. It's the competitive one for time trials and that sort of thing. Behind me here, I have the lovely yellow Acura Integra Type S.
What are the numbers today about?
It's my first time driving one of these. We'll talk about that in a second, but this is on the Bridgestone Potenza Race, which is one of those tires that is meant to be kind of a year-round tire, similar to a Michelin Cup 2. It can stay on the car year-round. Obviously, you're not driving it in the cold, but point being, you could drive this car to work on these tires and then drive it out here, do a weekend of HPDE, and drive home and not have to worry about a second set of wheels and tires. Now these, of course, are both a little bit more serious. The other 2 are over here with these 2 cars, and they are meant to be a little bit more casual, still performance-y, still very, very good. So next up we have the Nissan Z, and this is on the Bridgestone Potenza Sport. That is still a summer tire, and that's just gonna be much more of a street-focused summer tire, still with plenty of grip, but more for back roads than outright track performance. And then the 4th tire, and the one that is new, that just went on sale as this video went live, is the all-season version. So that's on this Subaru BRZ. You can see that this one is kind of covered in schmoo, given we were driving it on a wet autocross circuit, but these are going to be an all-season version. So this is the Bridgestone Potenza Sport AS. So this is, again, meant to be a very sport-focused tire. It's meant to have a ton of grip, but it's just meant to work in colder weather, wet weather, snow, all of that better than the summer tire does. So those are the cars, those are the tires. Let's get behind the wheel of each of the 4 of these and talk about how they perform in different scenarios. All right, so first one we are driving today is the Potenza Sport All Season, which is their newest tire, and we're doing it on a wet autocross circuit here in a Subaru BRZ because they want you to really feel out all of the wet weather turn in, and then when you get to kind of the limit of grip, how the tire falls off nice and progressively, like you can kind of see it doing here. So I personally have had some issues in wet weather before with racing in my past life where I've just had some issues, and granted that was on racing tires with no real ability to move a ton of water, but this is on a fabulous chassis. They actually used the BRZ to develop the tire, and this is just easy. It's moving water nicely. It's predictable. There's just not a whole lot to talk about here other than I feel like I can throw it around and be really confident in the entire maneuver. And granted, you've got it paired to a really good chassis, but either way, this is doing a lovely job. All right, so now we are in the Acura NSX Type S. This is gonna be fun because I've never driven one of these, but we are on the Potenza race tire. So this is not gonna be a tire that is the ultimate in grip. That's gonna be the RE71RS, but this is gonna be plenty good for doing really a lot of what you wanna do. They compare this to a Michelin Cup 2, which is what you're gonna get on a Corvette Z06 with the Z07 package if you buy a new C8. So kind of similar level of expectations, that's what you're going for. Well, let's see if I can string together anything coherent to say while I'm hustling an NSX around a track. So the car itself is of course lovely. I'm figuring out how to drive it because I'm a moron, but the tire itself is also pretty good. I feel like I've got good grip. Their whole thing with these was they want consistency lap after lap. So they said, you know, between lap 1 and lap 10, it should still provide the same experience. That's what I'm getting so far. And you know, it's getting a little squirrely only if I overdrive it. But if I'm staying within the car's limits here, it does do a nice job. I've never been to Atlanta Motorsports Park, so that's also a fun challenge, but it feels good. I'm getting a little...
Stay in the same order, stay in the same order.
Getting a little squirrely with it, and I think that's more my driving than anything. But it's got some nice lateral grip. When it does get squirrely, it's easy to just throw a little bit of counter steer in it and, you know, keep it pointed where you want. And the NSX here, we're in Sport Plus mode. Feels a little soft to me, but it's also, you know, the tire's coping with that well too. So I'm pretty pleased with it overall. You know, this is a tire you're not supposed to really change between doing a track day and doing, you know, driving home, or then you drive your...
I should come through here, so at this point I'm already thinking about the type right-hander, so get mine down to the type right-hander now. Hang with me a little bit better.
There we go. Okay, that's better. Yeah. I need to be looking forward more. Driving to the hood, and that's not helpful. Go back to my DE roots here and just be better. There we go.
Do one more lap in this order.
Yeah, right here. It's like long, sweeping, lateral sort of grip. It's got it. This is really impressive for the sake of it being a tire that you're supposed to like drive to work on, you know? Alright, so we're in the car I'm most excited to be driving. This is the Honda Civic Si race car. They run this with NASA, they run it with WRL, and this is on the Potenza RE71RS, which is the kind of grassroots tire. This is, you know, one of the tires that more of us watching these videos are more likely to buy. They come in a ton of fitments, down, you know, 15, 16 inch sizes up to the 18s, the 19s, to fit, you know, a newer track car with bigger wheels. So let's get out on track. I'm following, as a lead follow exercise, following a fully stock street car Type R. So here we are heading into turn 1 at Atlanta Motorsports Park, and I'm recording all this after the fact because the Civic was way too loud and I was focused way too hard on catching the Civic Type R and just driving the car versus talking while I was doing it. So in any case, I had time to think about all this, and my entire MO with this Type R that I'm chasing, the lead driver said, hey, just try to stay within 3 to 4 car lengths of my back bumper, and if I see you doing that, I will try to run away even harder, and that means you can push and we will go faster. So that is what we were doing. And for the sake of evaluating the tires, I'm not a professional tire reviewer, but I know what I like, I know what feels good, and what makes me feel comfortable, especially on a racetrack. So I was looking for good turn-in, easy car control, good lateral grip in a long sweeping sort of situation, and then good braking performance. And you even feel the braking performance when we get into the pedal, not just how the car stops. So let's talk about all of that as we talk about these few laps of AMP. So you've got a mix here of slower speed turns and then some bigger sweepers, some faster stuff. This that you're seeing right now is all a little bit slower. This is where you get just kind of the turn-in bit, and then it opens up right here to a big sweepy bit of the track. Right here, this is like run out third gear, go through fourth. And as we keep going, a little bit past this, if you're going fast enough, you will get into fifth. And you'll see here, this transitions up the hill, and then you start going right about now, and that takes you onto the front straightaway, in which we are then going to be looking for good braking performance. So, as we're here, we're getting toward the brake markers. Let's talk braking first. The car slowed down. It does have ABS. It slowed down very well. easy enough to modulate the pedal, which is an effect of the brake pads as well, but the tires just didn't really ask a whole lot, and I didn't get into the ABS too much, which I think does say a little bit about how the tires are willing to slow down. Now, all of these little transitions here, you want some good lateral grip because you're going quick, left, right, left sort of thing. They feel very nice here. As we come through this kind of sweepy left, good lateral grip, but we're going a little slow. Then we're gonna speed up down the hill, and we're gonna slow down again. So again, good braking performance, turn in and then run all the way out to track exit across the curbing. We were told to do that. Car felt great here. That's a little bit more of a function of suspension than anything with that across the curbing, but nice turn in everywhere just felt really, really good. And I have loved the steering on these Civics since they came out, no matter which type they are, SI, Type R, whatever. They all feel really good, but the tires just help all of it. Now, as we keep going, we're gonna go through these couple of turns, and then we get to that big, fast sweeper. That starts right about here. That is where these tires impress me the most, because from right about here onward, I am just in it, and I've got the wheel turned left, and I'm just hoping that these tires hold on as I just go faster and faster and faster. And I know that when we get to the top of this, I have to immediately start going right. And the lateral grip was just fantastic, and the tires felt like we could do this over and over and over. So we're driving a Nissan Z with this Potenza Sport on it, and this is a tire that, you know, is meant to be more of a street tire over anything. It's of course fine, as every summer tire can be for track use, autocross use, that sort of stuff, but you know, Bridgestone is saying these are more meant for like the sports cars, the touring cars that are going to be more on back roads than other more performance oriented situations. So what that means is you want a little bit of a, you know, better ride, you want a little bit more longevity, you still want all that grip, you still want it to be good, it's just you want it to last longer than something like an RE71RS. To that end, this is not meant to be a review of the Nissan Z. However, this is proving my point of what I said when I kicked off this whole little video, in that tires make so much of a car, whether it's acceleration, handling, braking, feel, noise, all of that. The tire makes up a lot of what you're getting from a review, or just if you're, you know, test driving a car yourself. So what does that mean in the context of this car in particular? Well, I thought this car, when I drove it before, I drove one when they first came out, it was another manual, just like this one, on, of course, the OEM tires. And that tire was built, you know, for Nissan with whatever specifications they provided. I thought the car was fun, but I thought it was too soft everywhere. And I still think this is a soft car, but you can get a lot of the softness out of it with the tire. And I do think that this is a much better pairing of a tire than the OEM factory tire that's on it. And so as we get into these corners, obviously these are not super tight hairpins, these are more sweepers, but the car feels just much more settled. It's definitely still soft, but the rear feels a little better. The turn-in is nice and precise. It is just a touch sharper everywhere. And it takes this car from something where I was thinking, you know, wow, I really, if I were to get one, I'd have to do a lot with the aftermarket to make it how I prefer, because this is a little too much touring car versus sports car for my preferences. And it kind of takes some of that out of my thoughts, actually. So just kind of an interesting thing there where, you know, the tire does make that much of a difference. Do I have a lane? I have a lane. This is what I would expect out of a sports car tire, especially one that's, you know, trying to provide the level of grip that they are. And the grip feels good, the turn-in feels crisp. These are the sorts of things where the tire makes a big deal, more than you might expect. You know, pushing through here, this is all tire, this is all lateral grip. The car is still a little soft, however, it is doing a nice job. You know, those long, like, sweepery turns, it just feels much better than I remember it feeling the first time when I drove the one that was on the OE tires that Nissan had spec'd. So really interesting to see how, you know, just throwing a different tire on can change the car so much. And then, from the perspective of these tires, these new Potenza Sports or newer Potenza Sports, they are a very nice option, I think. They're obviously, I haven't driven every tire that you can put on every car, so it's hard to say for sure, but this is certainly a good option, certainly one I would consider if I was, in the market for something like this. All right, and that is it for this whole tire tour, tire experience, whatever you want to call it, with Bridgestone here at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Thank you, as always, for coming along. Please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. We're right here on YouTube. Give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Out Motorsports. Head over to outmotorsports.com if you'd like to join a growing community of LGBT automotive enthusiasts and motorsports competitors. We have a lot of people online and in person who would love to be your new best friend and have you join us for some of our upcoming events. Until next time, stay safe, be well, see you again soon.